All right, welcome, kings and queens. Today we are talking Love and Marriage Huntsville Honey, season 7, episode 4. Let's get into it. I've figured something out. I've been able to sit back, watch closely, and figure something out. I actually watched this episode 2 times. Marcel, mark my words, Marcel Scott is coming for the top spot. Oh, yes, he is. He wants to be the star of the show, and the man is willing to do anything to get there. This includes insulting women. He's literally playing the most wicked game of chess that I've ever seen. And Stormy wasn't too far off, y'all. She was not too far off when she said he wants to be a lady. You're right. The leading lady. That's exactly what he wants to be, the leading lady. And there's a lot of drive behind that, primarily financial gain. He's underwater when it comes to his finances. If he becomes the star of the show, he could go back and negotiate his contract a little bit better. He is coming for the top spot as the leading lady of the show. Now, I don't know if y'all are paying attention to what's going on and what's happening, but this man has been able to strategically move and or force out the other chess pieces on the board. And I'm talking about the cast members. Follow me very closely. He exploited Tiffany and Louis's vulnerability as a newlywed couple, and he pretty much forced them out. He pretty much forced them out. He made it extremely uncomfortable for them to be there. Okay. And you're going to see a continuation of that this season with him constantly coming at Tiffany, right? Now, he's undermined or managed to undermine Maurice's role on the show. He's damn near forbidden Latisha to speak in his presence. If you notice, she talks less and less and less this season when they are together, okay? He set Martell up and tricked him out his spot. Martell is a spot on the wall, a speck of paint on the wall. Martell has really, uh, if you think about Martell, he really don't have a reason on this show. And some people will say, well, that's because he and Mel aren't together. But you gotta sit back and go back to day one of the reason why he and Mel are not together. Marcel literally handed Ariane over to Martell on a platter and got Martell's mind so twisted that it ruined his marriage. Oh, yeah, it's like taking candy from a baby. Melody told y'all that the cheating didn't start until Martell started hanging out with Marcel. Follow me closely. This man was able to eliminate the primary couple as competitors. He was able to conquer and divide them as the power couple, as the primary couple. But he tried to warn Martell in season 1. Let's take a look at this scene.
There's a whole Holt and Holt, and it can't be no Holt and then another Holt. Are you terms of us splitting? I'm speaking in very direct terms that I consider Holt and Holt as one entity, and I like to keep it that way.
Did y'all see that? He's basically saying, listen, you good? I know we out here cheating, but I need you to stay focused. You getting a little sloppy. Your wife is talking. That ain't good for me. We have a goal. I need you to stick to the plan. We trying to get this money, baby. We trying to get her on board with this combat group. Don't let your dick ruin a good moment where we all can walk away with a pocket full of money. Martell's dumbass, oh yeah, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Not really picking up or assessing, right? The impact of what's about to happen. And what Marcel, he is like, this man has been a puppet master since day one. So I mean, not Marcel, Martell's dumb behind, walks off, he leaves, he thinks he has it all all under control, right? Because I done got a hold of some good stuff that Marcel has turned me on to. So when he leaves, Marcel picks up the phone He calls Maurice. Y'all, let's take a look.
Momo. What's up, Solo? So me and Tell, we out here a lot. I had some concerns from the other night when we talked at dinner. Okay. You know how Mel brought up the whole stuff and it got a little uncomfortable. And so I just want to make sure that he was all good for everything we got going on.
He's basically calling Reese and they're speaking in code. He said, hey, he talking about he got it under control and things are perfect in their marriage again. Maurice said, that's what he said? Yeah. But if it's so perfect, why is she bringing it up? Oh, well, you know what? Basically, let's take this phone conversation offline because you know I'm mic'd up and let's get him to talk in person because we got to reel this in, considering all the things that we got going on. And that we got going on, y'all, wasn't just specific to the combat group. He was basically letting his brother know if we don't reel this mofo in, nigga, nigga, she about to blow up our spot. We gonna have to do something about this. And there you have it. Season 1, follow way up, follow up to season 7, the demise of the marriage. It's better to take the power couple out than to allow them to take us out. And here we are. He's coming for the leading role as the leading lady. He went after Melody relentlessly, right? As a part of the he went after Melody when she and Martell divorced. I mean, she couldn't catch a break. He was behind the social media antics. He was the driving force with the taunting, the laughing. He backed his mother-in-law up when she went after the Eminem kids. But check this out. Y'all know this. I've told you before. He was also a part of the plan and the plot to bring Arion on the show to blindside Melody. If that's not enough, let me refresh your memory. He orchestrated the attack on Miss Van when he and Kimmy coordinated Mark's appearance on the show. If that's not enough, let me bring you up to speed. He's currently going after Stormy, but she's pushing back. She's pushing back. And he's trying to dequalify Melody as a legit and an established businesswoman. And y'all are seriously mad at Stormy for calling him a bitch? He is a BAN. Stormy is just saying everything we're thinking. This man is no stranger to disrespecting women, including his own. Don't believe me? Go back and roll the tapes. But I'll rest my case right there. For those of you who are just tuned in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience.
Subscribe now.
All right. The scene kicks off with a continuation of Melody and Marcel. Listen, Melody is calling him out on his bullshit left and right and on his meddling, messy ass behavior as a man. And Mel said, it ain't so much about what you got to say. It's about how you moving out here. You right here front and center in the thick of the mess as recent as, let me refresh your memory, 2020. Lady Marceau, he looks at Melody and he says, "Listen, I have an opinion of things, so technically I'm not jabbing you if I'm sharing my opinion with you." Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's what he said. Listen, he definitely took a jab at Melody. He insinuated that as a small business owner, she ain't really doing nothing to him that's worthy enough for him to have her as a paid speaker for that bootleg ass Black Expo. Woo, child. This man tried to stifle Melody and made it seem like it wasn't a big deal that she actually started a company that grossed $1 million in a 12 calendar month. He said, yeah, but it went bankrupt. Now, bro, Martell went belly up and Martell had to file for bankruptcy. And as a matter of fact, let me back up a second. Both you and Martell were the driving forces behind Scott. Just say you helped him trick the money off, because y'all were frolicking in the streets of Huntsville, paying hoes left and right, allegedly having apartments, all kind of parties, buying cars, fronting trips, getting nails done, hair done, fluing people out, all of that good stuff. Y'all, I'm being sarcastic when I say fluing people out. Yeah, allegedly. Because according to Arion, you would front her lifestyle when Martell couldn't, bro. Melody pulled that bankruptcy response so she wouldn't be left holding the bag for Martell. So if you're going to call it, you got to make sure you call it right.
You ain't been divorced, so you filed bankrupt because your finances just went right.
Bloop. Now that's how you stop, drop, shut them down, and open up shop. Just the way Melody did, okay? Marcel, moving forward, I need you to practice saying less, please, because every time you talk, you reveal bits and pieces that you're actually a fan. I said it before. You're a mellometer, undercover. Melody should have brought your ass a t-shirt because I think you would have been okay had she given you a mellometer t-shirt because you stay watching this lady. You were able to call out the stats, the plays, the ins and the outs of her business, what she was doing, what she wasn't doing. That's a fan. You know more about what she has going on than you do about your wife and your kids. Interesting. Very interesting. This man is watching Melody. Every move she make, every step she take, he's right there on social media watching. Now I want to ask y'all something. I am not trying to be funny. I am not trying to be messy. But listen, um, I swear I'm not trying to be funny. Does Marceau have teeth at the top? No, seriously, I want to know. I'm not trying to be funny because I I don't think I've seen them before. And I was listening to trending topics and I heard her call him bottom row so, and I damn near lost it in my house. Bottom row so. And I was like, oh my God, does that mean he doesn't have a top row? Anywho, I was just wondering, does anybody know? Help me out in the chat. Yeah, so he and Melody, they wrap up the conversation with him inviting Melody to attend the town hall that's been arranged by Kimmy and Maurice. Imagine that. You're not good enough to be paid, but damn, I would love to pick your brain, your business brain, to help me out. And I'm not going to be defensive. And y'all did everything. Y'all, y'all were all kind of defensive in that meeting. Okay? What are your thoughts about what I just recapped and what I just reviewed? Do you feel like he's coming for the top spot? Do you feel like he and Latisha were open to receiving feedback openly, honestly, genuinely receiving feedback? Or were they defensive, in your opinion? All right, so let's get into this town hall, right? This town hall meeting, and then I'm gonna uh talk about Lou and Tiffany at the end. I'm gonna try to get through the town hall really, really quickly. So they gather for the town hall. They kind of trickle in one by one. The good thing is, one of the positives that came out of this is Latisha and Marcel were actually on time. Yay, yay, yay. That's good to see. Marcel starts running his mouth. That's why I always say, Marcel, you talk too much. Say less because you put your foot in your mouth. As the group was waiting for everybody else to get there, Marcel begins to share what he thought was a funny story, but he slipped up. Okay. And he said, yeah, so I had lunch with Mel yesterday. And I think in that moment, he fuck around and he found out because you could feel Letitia's energy, or he must have felt it because, baby, he course corrected so quick. He said, I mean, I met Mel for coffee. Did you see the look? Did y'all see the look on Letitia's face when he said he had lunch? He had lunch with Melody. Oh my God. He F around and he found out in that moment. And y'all, I'm going to tell you this. I think that messed her up. I think when her husband said, "I had lunch with Melody," it completely messed up her entire mood from then on, from that moment on, and that's why she was so adversarial and persnickety with Melody when Melody came in to talk. So he's trying to clean it up, trying to make her feel better, talking shit, and he's saying, "Yeah." So I just pretty much met with Melody just to let her know that what she's doing in business, I don't really value, and it's not relevant, and it really don't count to me. That's why Letitia's mad at Melody, y'all, because deep down inside, she knows that Marceau is sweet on Melody. All of this stuff that he's doing this season is to make up for last season and the seasons before. He's always respected Melody's business savvy up until recent. And I called it a year ago. I said, because of his wife and her unaddressed insecurities, he's going to have to do something to make her feel better. Don't be surprised if he starts a full on verbal attack against Melody. And that's what he's done. But what he's doing is he's coming for things that are near and dear to Melody that will make Latisha feel better. Now he's trying to disqualify what Melody has done in business to make Latisha feel superior in business. Sir, we not buying it. So Melody comes in the room and she sets the record straight. She said, "What y'all talking about?" They bring her up to speed. And I guess Melody's wheels got to turning. And she says, "Let me clear the air." First of all, he apologized. Baby, the record scratched. Did you see the look on Letitia's face? Like, nigga, you didn't tell me you apologized to the broad. The way you came home is like you put her in her place, but you didn't tell me you apologized to her. And honey, from the look on her face, that caught her completely off guard. Because in that moment, I think she realized he don't tell me everything. Girl, of course not. He went to Africa without you. Ah, but it's interesting. You didn't know that, huh? That your husband apologized to the same woman that he tried to insult on your behalf. Let's get to Stormy really quickly. I'm not going to linger here too long. So, Stormy and Marcel, they have this banter, this cheeky banter. They're going back and forth, back and forth. And Stormy calls him a B. Now, I know people have mixed opinions about Stormy calling him a B. Let's talk about it. I'm not going to say she was right or she was wrong. Everybody has a different threshold. Some people ain't gonna let you play with them. Now, the rest of the women may allow him to disrespect them years on end, season after season. She's not that girl. She's cut from a different cloth. She's going to address the elephant in the room when it comes to him. So she called him a B. Some folks say, well, you called my husband a B, then we would have a problem. Well, the problem actually starts if your husband is the type of man that gets into women's business. I don't know. If your husband is the kind of man that prefers to do man stuff, have conversations with other men and not really meddle or care too much about what the women have going on, you're not going to have a problem with another woman calling your husband a B. He would even be in those types of situations. And I think that's what we're failing to realize. He's creating his own crazy and he's setting himself up to be disrespected in the manner that he has disrespected all of these women over the course of the past 7 seasons. So, Stormy calling him a B does not bother me because he does do bitch ass shit when it comes to the women. And it really freaks me out that people seem to forget all of the agony, the taunting, and the teasing that he's done against Melody, that he's kind of turned a blind eye to when it came to her kids. That's bitch assness. Like Puffy said it many years ago. So I just wanted to remind you, refresh y'all's memory for those of you that seem to have amnesia. Now, I'm not saying I would have called him a B, right? But she did what she felt like she had to do. That's it. Um, I am done with that scene. Let's go to the scene with Nell and Kimmy. All right, so Kimmy meets with Nell. And initially when the scene come on, I'm like, what is the purpose of this scene? Let's talk about it. Did you get the purpose of the scene? Or did I miss it? Did it go over my head? I'm watching this scene. I realized I was frowning in my own damn house on my couch. It hit me. I said, Kimmy is tricky. I don't like tricky people. She's disingenuous and she's not really a girl's girl. Kimmy's a mean girl. Now, she cleaned up her demeanor and her attitude toward the end of the meeting, but there's glimpses of her that came through when that mask slipped off every now and then in that conversation. That conversation made me extremely uncomfortable because, girl, I feel like you was trying to start some beef between you and Miss Nell for no damn reason. I feel like you was trying to have a moment with Miss Nell for no reason. Miss Nell ain't never came at you, ever. And I really didn't like the way you set that up. I did. Now, like I said, she cleaned up her demeanor and her attitude towards the end of the meeting, but I don't care. It's the agenda behind meeting in the first place that caused me to scratch my head, right? I don't feel like Kimmy is a nice woman. And I'm okay with that. If you just be that. If you're a bitch, then be a bitch. I can respect people that say, hey, listen, this is how I am. I don't really have too much patience for a lot of stuff. So you get what you get. I can respect that. I know how to move around. I know how to work around that, right? And also, I know what areas to not cross when it comes to your boundaries. Why does all of your beef, Kimmy, typically stem off the back of whomever Latisha is beefing with or has an issue with? That's what I mean, disingenuous, not original. Both Latisha and Kimmy, in my opinion, want to be the HBICs on the show, but they don't have the money or the business savvy to be able to do so. Secondly, in order to be the HBIC on a show like this, in addition to having the money and the business savvy, it would also require you having a supportive partner, i.e., husband, a man that supports you, that wants you to spread your wings and fly. And neither of you have that in your husbands. So now I feel like you, Kimmy, are strategically trying to eliminate and help push Nell out so she doesn't steal your shine. And also, you're trying to kill two birds with one stone because if you can push her out and not invite her to things with the quote unquote core six, the core six is broken because Melody and Martell are no longer a couple. But if you can push her out of the quote unquote core six, that removes a level of support for Melody, from Melody. Are y'all paying attention of what the Scots have going on? Anybody that shows up and appears to align themselves and or advocate for Melody, they're not invited. We're going to push them out. We're going to make it really hard for them. As a matter of fact, we're going to see to it that you get off this show. We're going to make it hard for you to shoot scenes because y'all know when you don't uh work, if you're not in a scene, you don't get paid. So not only are you pushing her out, you fucking with their money. Excuse my language, but y'all know we just talking. You fucking with their money. I see you, Kimmy. The Scots attacking packs. It's all strategic. Okay. But I'm watching, I'm seeing it. Um, let's see what else within this scene. But I'm glad that Nell told her, you don't get to make that choice for me. You don't get to think for me. Hell, that's right, Nell. Stand up. I love it. Nell told her, you don't get to speak for me. I will decide where I'm valued and how and where I bring value to. I just really loved how Nell handled herself at the start, the middle, and the ending of the meeting. Okay. But this scene, it was a bullshit scene to me, in my opinion, to ask someone for their time. Because the way this reality thing works is you can request to shoot with somebody. Okay. This could have been a conversation. This is one of those meetings that could have been an email or a phone call. And you wasted that lady's time so that you could get paid and you could have a scene and you could have a storyline. Child, you could have called Nell or text that. All right, grab a seat and make yourselves comfortable. We're about to back this thing up and talk about Lou and Tiffany. Whew. I got a lot on this one. I got a lot of notes. First of all, y'all should have got a babysitter. The the problem in the marriage is right now, you don't have quality time together. She's wanting more physical touch, more intimacy with you. You should have gotten a babysitter for this scene so that the two of you would have had that alone time to really be able to hear and see each other. Lewis, in my opinion, did not want to be there, period, point blank. That was obvious from the jump, and I feel like he's checked out. And I'm trying to figure out, are you checked out from the show or have you checked out the marriage? Now, we not going to know because they left the show. And I'm guessing they left the show to save the marriage. Oh, pause on that. I am guessing they left the show to save the marriage, allegedly. They're newlyweds. This should be bliss. This should be happy feelings in the air. Hey, all of that. All of that. Frankie Beverly, all of that good stuff. And it's not. And if y'all ain't picking that energy up, then I don't know. There is trouble in paradise. And there's areas of risk in this marriage for both Tiffany and Louis. Tiffany has a very sarcastic sense of humor. Tiffany, you're going to have to let that go if you want your man to enjoy his time at home. Tiffany has a tendency to use sarcasm to pick at a person. She was sarcastic from the moment the scene started, okay? Until he put her in her place. She's like, "Oh, since you're not home, you roll out, the picnic. You do this, you do that." If love is the goal, pay attention to how you engage folks. And actually, I think the sarcasm may be a defense mechanism, Tiffany, but you're going to have to work on it if love is the goal. They've only been married a short period of time, y'all. Follow me. That means they don't know each other well. It don't matter if you're 40, 24. It takes time in a marriage to get to know each other. Lots of time. They don't know each other well. Let's pause there. They're married, but they don't know each other well. That's not a negative because that applies to all of us. We all have to go through it as married couples. They were married for what, maybe 2.5 years, 2 years before having a baby. Secondly, as newlyweds, he was already complaining about the lack of sex in the marriage as a newlywed. That's another issue. Third, I'm not sure if he asked Tiffany to marry him or if Tiffany just threw this surprise wedding on him and he felt obligated to go on with it. Okay. I need more information on that. I know you threw a surprise wedding, but see, a man needs to be the hunter. And the reason why I'm saying all of this, I need to know if he chose Tiffany or if Tiffany chose him. That's where I'm getting at because I feel like the man is checked out. $1 million question is why. Now, it appeared as if he and Tiffany were both at the height of their careers prior to having baby Ace. They were newly in love. Go back and look at previous seasons. And I feel like Tiffany had her husband in the palm of her hand in a good way. He would have done anything for Tiffany because this Lewis is not the Lewis I met previous seasons. That's not the Lewis I saw on camera. Okay. Now they both, before baby Ace, damn near had grown kids. So Lewis may not have been wanting to have a new baby. Maybe he wanted to coast and enjoy the moment. You know what? The kids are almost out the house. I'm going to really be able to take this baseball thing to the next level. I see my wife traveling with me, us going all around the world. They had two different fantasies, two different ideologies about what that marriage or what they wanted that marriage to look like. That's why I need to know. So he fantasized about getting the kids out the house, allegedly, in my opinion, advancing his career, stacking his money, and doing things as a man now that his kids were almost grown. She fantasized about what a baby could do for the two of them and how a baby would bring the two of them closer. That didn't happen. That did not happen. The baby actually pushed him further apart, caused him to take on a role that required him being more outside of the home than inside of the home. And if the truth be told, I don't think Lewis want to be at home anyway. From what I picked up from the scene, I am not blaming Tiffany. I'm just telling you what I'm reading from his demeanor in this scene. That's a bad thing when a man don't want to come home. That's a huge problem because most often when they don't want to come home, you can't get them to come home. Very rarely. Maybe prayer, some heavy deep prayer, but that's bad, honey, when they don't want to come home. I think Tiffany is frustrated. I think Lewis is frustrated. And Lewis, I feel like he was trying to tread lightly in this scene in order to not explode. Tiffany's frustrated and she's sharing her emotions with him, hoping that things will get better. I think he's mad at you, Tiffany. I think he resents you, in my opinion, for having that baby. Tiffany, you may have made your husband feel trapped. You may have made your husband feel like you trapped him. So, how does a husband feel trapped if that's his wife? The same way shit, two people that's not married feel trapped. He had hopes and dreams, and you pressured him on screen to have a baby. Okay. Ladies, you've got to be able to dial into these men, not to confuse that with servitude. That's not what I'm saying. When I say dial in, I mean observe, listen, watch carefully. That man said a lot in this here scene. Let's talk about it. I'm going to run down the list of some things that I picked up that I felt like was coming out of this scene. And y'all know how we do. Keep those comments coming in the chat. Let's talk about it. Number one, he said, "You did this to yourself." He's basically implying to her, as his wife, "You made your bed, now lie in it. It's your problem. You did it to yourself. The way you're feeling, you brought it on to yourself. I told you not to have this baby." Number two, he looked at her and said, "Well, you can't really prepare for a newborn, and you should know this." And then she looks at him and she's saying, "Well, I don't recall ever feeling this way with my other kids." Are y'all reading between the lines? She said, "I have good memories of all of, my other newborns. This is my first time ever feeling like this." That's code for my other man was there. He didn't abandon me. I had the emotional support I need. So, nigga, this the first time I've ever felt like this. And not because my kids were newborns. That's because my husband was there. And that's why it's important for both men and women, because women cheat too, to know the grass is not always greener on the other side. Woo! The third thing I noticed in this scene, she finally gets to the heart of the matter. First, she was talking about, well, you're not home and da 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 da. She finally gets to okay, what's the real problem here? I don't know where you are in this marriage. Are you happy? I can't really put my finger on it, but something's not right. And I am afraid of losing you. Pay attention. Follow me very closely. She let her guard down. It took her a while, but she got there. His response, in my opinion, was extremely defensive, and he did a passive aggressive thing that irks my nerves. You know, when you really telling somebody how you feel, you're not being disrespectful. It took you a lot of courage to get there. You're damn near in tears or whatever it is, right? How you feeling, but you lay it all out. And then they look at you and they say, "What are you talking about? What do you mean, nigga?" Y'all, that's like a defense mechanism. That's a strategic way to shut you down. Cause now you have to defend how you're feeling. They are not giving your ass a safe place to talk, and they not trying to hear you. When somebody say, "What are you talking about?" What you mean? So you know what? Actually, let's put a pin in this conversation. Cause I didn't realize that I wasn't coming through clear. Let's come back to it. And watch. Most times they'll say, "No, I understood. No, 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 you good, you good. I knew I was good. Don't play with me." But okay, look, okay, don't play. I'm doing too much of this role playing thing too well, right? Don't play with me. But listen, he did not like that. Why would a man be defensive about his wife saying, "Are you happy? I'm afraid that I'm gonna lose you." Tiffany, and not just Tiffany, women, men. Let me tell you something. No, Imma say women, I ain't really talking to the men, hell. I said what I said. Tiffany and other women, let me tell you something. He's not happy. When you say, "Are you happy?" And if they don't look at you and say, "Yeah, I'm happy. I'm good." Why? Why you say that? Did I say something? Shit, did I do something? That was not his response. So Imma tell you what he didn't have the courage to say on camera. He's not happy. But he's going to dance around it. And he's doing what some men do, not most. He's creating distance, further distance between you and him. What do you mean by that, Queen Sheba? Because even if you're not home, if we can clear the air and you let me know where you are, he never told her where he was. He never emotionally. He never told her what his mindset is in the marriage. Because see, I can feel good about you being on the road if I know where you are mentally. He said, "What are you talking about? What do you mean?" There's temptation. There's always going to be temptation. But what do he say? I know where home is. Nigga, I didn't ask you if you knew how to get home. I said, "Are you happy?" And he skirted around that. So he's creating distance. He's not going to validate her feelings. Why? That's your wife. The worst thing you can do, ladies, Tiffany, is chase when they're creating distance. It's going to be the hardest thing for you, Tiffany, but baby, you're going to have to pause and regroup. You're going to have to put a plug in it, a pin in it, and stop chasing your husband. And you're going to have to get your mind right and regroup. I'm not talking about no divorce, y'all. I'm not talking about nothing but pausing. If you chase a dog, any dog that you chase will run. Stop chasing him. Get yourself together. Go to therapy if you're going through postpartum depression. When the doctor clears you and gives you the thumbs up, you go work out. Start working on you, improving your mental, your spirit, and your physical. Give yourself time to bounce back, reevaluate, have a conversation again, and then make a decision. Now, the other thing I noticed is that Tiffany hinted that she feel like his interest could be somewhere else. Y'all, let me just put it out there and quit playing with y'all. The lady thinks her husband is cheating. Okay, there, I said it. Why would your husband be interested in some young thing all of a sudden when y'all have had this great newlywed 3-year marriage? All of a sudden, you're afraid that his interest may be with some young thing, so you think he's cheating. My question to you is, what gave you that idea? What are you not saying? What else is there? Okay. This man said, when you need me, I'm there. Y'all, they struggling. Louis, you verbally, passively, aggressively assassinated your wife. Tiffany, he said that because it's the right thing to say on camera. Everything you ask for, you will not be getting anytime soon. I know it's harsh. I know it's harsh because you got to figure out what's going on with him. Either he's cheating or he's in a different place mentally in this marriage. Either way, there is a block. And when men are blocked, they ain't giving you shit by way of emotions. You better ask somebody. You better ask somebody. You're not going to get that anytime soon. So you're going to have to pour into yourself until you can figure things out. Because if you were going to get emotional support and emotional healing for your husband, it would have happened on site. It would have happened in that moment. He didn't reach for you. He didn't touch you. He didn't smile at you. He didn't embrace you. Nor did he genuinely, sincerely reassure you. The question is why? Why? Martell said, y'all have threesomes. Ladies, that is a very dangerous game to play in your marriage. And I'm wondering, and I got a funny feeling and a sneaky suspicion that old Lou got a hold of some good stuff in one of those threesomes that he can't let go of. Allegedly.